So yeah, I thought of having like a video of a forest or something to start, um, but I've heard a lot of feedback that the videos is it doesn't stream very well yet.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's
That's
really
interesting, Yeah, because I've had the same issue, and somebody said just post a link in the chat and get people to view it. So I don't know. I haven't tried that yet. So
that's a good workaround.
yeah, yeah. So great. So people are just starting to join now. Because there's some really amazing, I think is it 4K
Yeah.
4K videos. It's fantastic quality, nature quality. Yeah.
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 I get the pop-ups, advertisement pop-ups during those videos, which is obviously a distraction.
Okay, you don't want to do that. Well,
But that might be unique. I think that's unique to everyone's, like, browsing history and internet usage. So some people might not get those pop-ups.
yeah. So yeah, did you see the rest of the speakers? Is a really good lineup.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Looks amazing.
That's it. With Julianne, Tree Girl, she's going to be
Yeah,
speaking on Sunday, which is
that's
fantastic.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah, great. So we'll just give maybe 2 minutes, Duncan, and we'll start. We're just waiting for. Yeah.
Okay.
And we're recording this as well, so.
Okay.
So if you've joined, thank you for bearing with us because we were having a few little technical issues, but we're just getting that sorted. So we'll just start in 2 minutes. Great. Fantastic. So we might get started, Duncan. Okay. So thanks to everybody who's joined us, and we're delighted to have Duncan here all the way from the US. And I met Duncan about 6 years ago, I think, in beautiful Sonoma County, and I've been following his work ever since. He's doing some great work that he's going to tell you all about it. So then afterwards, we're going to have a Q&A with Duncan. So I'll send it over to you, Duncan.
Okay, great. Thank you, Shirley. Hello, everyone. What are your feelings about, and we'll get to this at the Q&A, about technology as it relates to nature connection? Do you think that, are you wary of technology getting in the way of your nature connection experiences? And so technology and nature oftentimes are seen in direct opposition. It's a dichotomous view. Or is it more nuanced than that? So on the surface, technology is what has been really taking us away from our connection to nature, and as you know, kind of the state of the natural world is seemingly in decline. There's a rise in technology. So, and the internet, especially the web, especially, has been keeping us indoors. You've heard this before. And on screens, and are seen as detrimental to our mental health. And so I've sensed amongst nature connection practitioners, the community, and I've also had a reluctance to use technology, and for very, very good reason. It's oftentimes guided just by an instinctual feeling. So hopefully I can pinpoint those and we can kind of flesh those out. So, screens are distracting. They strain our eyes and give us poor posture. and addict us to those superficial dopamine doses you get from those Pavlovian dings from your phones that are in your pocket. Um, so I'd like to explore, and I'd like to tell you and say, you know, what if I were to tell you that if we really took a deep dive and understood the role of technology and the web as it relates to nature connectedness, we could responsibly and knowingly harness this amazing network to create a better, more sustainable relationship to the natural world. But there are some serious caveats, and I'll get to those later. But first, I think we need to admit that the internet and the web is pretty cool, right? I mean, it's amazing, and it can't be all that bad. You know, after all, we're here right now, connecting through the internet, through the web, and we're learning from each other. We're all talking about nature and taking part in this summit. I would say that collectively we're participating in something that is deepening our society's relationship to nature. So, right, I'm Duncan Murdoch. I am a certified nature and forest therapy guide, and since 2015, I'm based in Vermont, USA, and I lead forest bathing experiences to help people and to facilitate for people to deepen their connection to the natural world. So I host primarily in person forest bathing walks. And also I host virtual forest bathing experiences where people can access this from the web all over the world. And I've been especially doing that lately since COVID struck. And so COVID has posed a number of incredible challenges for everyone. And personally, since I've been isolating from my friends and family, physical distancing, it's been tough, and it's been hard for so many people all over the world, and it will continue to be a challenge. But what I've been surprised with is how much gratification I get through connecting to people through platforms such as this, Zoom and Skype and FaceTime and whatnot. And what I've also been really surprised by is that I'm able to continue my practice by connecting, helping people and facilitating opportunities for people to connect to the natural world by use of this technology, by use of this of the web. So it's similar, not connecting to other people through the screen isn't quite the same, right? But it does kind of satisfy a little part of our yearning to be connected to something greater. So is that the same? Does it the same hold with connecting to nature? And I'll keep going here. So to start to reframe our perception as the web as kind of just all bad and as a unnatural, artificial, human-made distractor and obstructor of our quest for a deeper nature connection, I'll defer to Paul Stamets. He's a American mycologist, and maybe you've seen the film Fantastic Fungi. Fantastic Fungi is an incredible film about mycelium and fungi, and it had a worldwide screening, a virtual screening, fairly recently. So I would like to pull up a slide here. If I can get to it. There we go. Yeah. Good. There it goes. And his what Paul Stamets says is that I believe that the invention of the computer internet is the inevitable consequence of previously proven biological successful model. Now he's talking about mycelium, the network, the Wood Wide Web. The Earth invented the computer internet for its own benefit, and we now, being the top organism on this planet, is trying to allocate resources in order to protect the biosphere. So what is he talking about? The similarities between the Wood Wide Web and the World Wide Web are pretty profound. And this Wood Wide Web, this super connective network, was, I'm sure you are familiar with it. It's the mycelium network, and that was really started to get discovered in 1997 with Susan Simard, and she was studying radioactive carbon. She was fascinated by this network that connects individual species together so that they can transfer information and resources to the community as a whole. And so this fibrous root system of fungi enables us to do that. So also, if you haven't read The Secret Life of Trees, it's a beautiful book, and that also goes more in depth about mycelium if you're interested. So these common mycelium networks, also known as CMN, or the Wood Wide Web. And with the help of our research, we discovered that trees talk chemically through mycelia, and to send information to each other, to warn each other about oncoming disease, and also to send information and kind of care packages to each other to take care of the community as a whole. And so what we have known now, and what has been shown, is that plants and trees that are online, the Wood Wide Web, are healthier because they're able to communicate. So are we healthier online on the World Wide Web? So it's a question that's been on my mind. So to explore this, I'd like to look at the researcher Peter Kahn at the University of Washington. And so between technology and nature, there is what he's called as technological nature. Now, this is a term that I'd love for you to start to get familiar with. And let's see if I can do this. Share here. And so technological nature, according to Peter Kahn, are technologies that in various ways mediate, augment, or simulate the natural world. So examples of technological nature are technologies such as like live webcams of nature, or even like videos of nature. I sent a link to everyone to you can look at it sometime. It's just simply a video of walking through nature. Other examples are like robot animals or other immersive virtual environments, such as virtual forest bathing. So the question is, when we offer these experiences or we take part in these experiences, are these effective ways of getting your dose of nature? And so might interacting with technological nature provide us humans the psychological experience and benefits of actual nature? So to address this question, you may have a response intuitively, but there's been some research around that. And so again, Peter H. Kahn had some studies. And one study involves, he set up like a a live plasma TV in a university setting over a 16-week period. And these are like plasma TV act as windows, virtual windows in windowless rooms. And the results showed that that participants enjoyed the plasma display window and benefited from it in terms of their psychological well-being, cognitive functioning, and connection to the natural world. So this study suggests that experiencing this one kind or another of technological nature may be better than experiencing no nature at all. So technological nature, it's been shown through this study and other studies that it may be better than experiencing, excuse me, no nature at all. But, so, leads us to our next question. Is this type of technological nature as good as actual nature? So to address this question, they conducted another study that involved a group, 90 participants and 30 per group. And so they had, one is a glass window. They had a view of a nature scene. Another is the plasma window that had like a real-time live stream or a view of essentially the same scene. And then C, the third group was just a blank wall. And so they found that in terms of heart rate recovery from low level stress, that the glass window was more restorative than a blank wall, obviously. But a plasma window was no more restorative than the blank wall. And also the participants in the glass window condition when they actually looked out the glass window, their heart rate tended to decrease more rapidly than they were not looking at the glass window. And in the plasma window condition, there was no difference in heart rate recovery when participants looked at the plasma window versus just when they looked elsewhere. So taking both of these studies together, the plasma window, the technological nature experience, appears better than no nature, but not as good as actual nature. So this is the grand conclusion that these studies are showing, that in terms of human well-being, technological nature, again, is better than no nature, but not as good as actual nature. And so what I've been finding is that through my own experiences, this is true. And I have been using a variety of ways for people to connect to nature, especially, like I mentioned, since COVID. And I can explain some of those things, some of those ways that I've been experimenting and showing. Yes, so here are the slides. Here are some of the images that I was talking about. This is the plasma, the plasma screen here, and stop the annotation. So, right, technological nature is better than no nature, but not as good as actual nature. This is a big takeaway here. There'll be a test at the end. Just kidding. So here's some of the virtual experiences that I've been offering, or technological nature experiences that I've been offering. Virtual forest bathing, you may be hearing more about, and you might be hosting some yourself. If you're a practitioner, you might have partaken in some of these experiences. And virtual forest bathing we're finding collectively as a community of guides and through also trial and error and whatnot that participants can participate on a series of different ways. So for one, participants can watch and listen on the screen from home. And just by purely watching it, say someone's bedridden and they're just watching it on their screen and listening. Another option is to watch and listen and interact with the elements of nature in the home, such as water or the plants in or the view from out your window, the glass window. Another option is for participants to take part with the video on their mobile device while they're in nature, while they're forest bathing. And then another option, another level where people can partake is they can call in just with their phone and listen to the guided experience on speaker with their phone or with their earpiece while they're forest bathing. So it's kind of like a guided audio forest bathing experience. And these generally are 1 to 2 hours, but there's a lot of variation there amongst the guiding community. I just went past one still, that's okay. These are just stills from the forest bathing experiences, the virtual experiences. Here we have a tea ceremony. That's typical in forest bathing walks. And we're using the term, a lot of us, in community. So we pour our tea here and pour it back into the earth. Another experience that I've offered in the past is a forest bathing room, an indoor forest bathing room. So this utilizes various technological nature elements. And so this happened, I did this, I believe, in 2018 in a Midtown Manhattan office, in a psychotherapist's office. And it was this room was transformed into a forest. And it was a simulation using a combination of natural objects and digital reproductions of nature. In one room, in another room, separate room, there was simply a projection of a beach with waves crashing on the shore and a little beach chair and sand. But in this room, it had like cypress oil diffusion, adding like humidity and the smell and releasing those phytoncides into the air. And then there are recorded sounds of birds in the forest, and there are tree stumps and branches and living plants all around. And the experience, people would walk in and experience this indoor forest bathing room in groups of maybe 3. And it was a pretty small room, and had fairly profound, pretty profound nature connection experiences, which I can't get into now. I wrote a blog about it if you want to learn more about it on my website. And here's some elements that were used for this simulation of nature, using actual elements of nature as well. Another technological nature experience that I offered is it's a bit of a hybrid, but it's inner nature forest bathing. So the concept is exploring your inner nature. So just by closing your eyes and visualizing nature. And this is through a live Zoom experience. And it was a video of simply of me guiding people through of visualizing a forest bathing walk, pretty much. So that was great. And those sessions last about 20-25 minutes. Another thing that I've done is an audio program. So these are pre-recorded and they're 45-minute downloads of forest bathing sessions, and where participants can listen on their own time in nature, on their phones, through an earpiece, or have it in their pocket on speaker. And each session focuses on one of the traditional five senses, and a sit spot is included in those. And of course, you access this through the web to get those downloads. That was also part of a study with the University of Vermont College of Nursing and Health Sciences. And this slide might be too small for you to see. There needed to be more participants. I think one of the lessons learned, you can see in this little box, is that doing a study during finals is a bad idea. So it was a little hard to get participants involved to get any significant data. So there's more work to be done there to kind of gauge the efficacy of forest bathing using technological nature on people's sense of well-being, and in this case, resilience and relatedness in nursing students. Another thing that I've done is an introduction to forest bathing. It's an online program. It's a learning platform. It's educational learning experience, interactive lessons and whatnot, journaling. Here's some stills from there. Here's some reviews of people. Just basically, a takeaway here is that it's a good experience. And so, just we can activate people's senses, five senses, during these technological nature experiences. And this is just a stat of how we experience the world. It's 83% sight, 11% hearing. And so these primary two senses we can really activate during technological nature. So, but what about the other? What about the other senses? So in forest bathing, we touch on these five senses, but there's the other senses that are beyond. And so what is essential is that we activate what's beyond, the sense of awe while we're in nature, and actual physical nature, the reciprocal relationship we have with the connection we have with all other beings. This can only be done through direct immersion in actual real nature. So real forest bathing is where we have arrived at now. And so in real forest bathing, you meet with other people, you're in the actual environment, immersive environment. It's a 2 to 3 hour experience. There's a tea ceremony. So the big takeaway here is technological nature is better than no nature, but not as good as actual nature. And so we can develop and use technological nature as a bonus on life in the natural world, and not as a substitute. And we use it to inform our experiences in actual nature, and as a separate experience and relationship, we want to guide people to have those experiences in nature without the use of technology. So it's imperative for our mental health to have a true connection with real nature, the touch of moss, the smell of a flower, the feeling of awe. And we can't move it in the future if we're using technology as our total experience of nature. This is a really dangerous view. So this technological nature is not a supplement. It's not a replacement for the actual experience. So our goal here is that we might depend on the responsible, we can use the web, technological nature to inform us and give us tools to have a deeper dive into a deeper relationship to the natural world. So I'll leave you now with, let's see, just wanted to leave you with some pointers here. This is a Thich Nhat Hanh quote. When we've truly fallen in love with the earth, will our actions spring from reverence and the insight of our interconnectedness. So, real forest bathing. Here's some reviews that really show that real forest bathing has a profound effect. So towards the future, I'll leave you. Use the web to educate people about the health benefits of nature connection. Keep tab of your own screen usage always. It can be addictive, and it's an ongoing monitoring. Create content and host nature and attend nature connection events that engage us with real nature. Explain virtual nature experiences. It's better than no nature, but not as good as real nature. And for a deeper understanding and relationship with the natural world that will result in real global transformation, encourage people to immerse themselves wholly in the natural world without the use of technology. And only offer technological nature as a supplement to populations who do not have access to real nature. Otherwise, technological nature is not a replacement for the real thing. So I usually end my talks and my walks saying, may the forest be with you. And in this case, I'll say, may the forest be with you. And if you can't get to the forest, a virtual forest might be your next best thing. Thank you very much.
So that's fantastic, Duncan. I really enjoyed your talk. Learned lots as well, which is great. So I'm just going to ask just the participants if they have any questions for you. They can just type them in the Q&A. Okay. So yeah, just say apologies for people. We're recording this. I know the first 10 minutes was difficult for some people. So Peter has asked, does the New York, he said, oh yeah, does the New York City therapist still offer that experience? So I presume it was about the forest room. So.
It was a temporary installation to kind of launch the office. It's called Revive. And it's a psychotherapist, Andrew Tepper. He's an amazing therapist, but he still does do kind of nature mindfulness experiences as well, but it's primarily cognitive therapy.
Right. Thanks, Duncan. So just to invite people as well to just write their questions down. So Manuel was asking, why would somebody choose to join a virtual forest bathing walk instead of spending time in a forest or in a green space?
Yeah, I mean, there are a variety of reasons. I think from what I found is curiosity. It's a kind of a new form, and I think other guides are maybe checking it out and seeing its viability. But I would say why. I don't know the reasons why, but I would just assume that virtual forest bathing experiences are there for people who can't access nature at that time. So if they want a nature dose, say they're bedridden or for one reason or another they can't get out, and they still want to have that kind of sense of connection to nature and to a community of people who are doing the same, then they would choose a virtual forest bathing experience.
Right. Thanks, Duncan. And I think that's really important because there's so many people in psychiatric hospitals and prisons, in nursing homes that really need some nature immersive experience.
And also, I'll just add too, it could be just out of curiosity too, and it's a great way to get familiar with the practice of forest bathing, so that you yourself can do it out in nature. So you learn the tools of really how to forest bathe and kind of the structure through experiencing a virtual walk.
Fantastic. And we have a question from Amanda. Hi, great talk. Thank you. I was wondering if you can talk a little more about the Vermont study. What was nature immersion, and what were the results?
Oh yeah. So they don't have enough results. They don't have the results, unfortunately. So that's an ongoing study, and they're looking to get more funding to continue that. But that was it was a program for for nursing students who are under incredible stress, to see if forest bathing helps with their sense of resiliency and wellness. So I created these audio programs. So they're basically like like audio museum walks, except they're forest bathing and you're experiencing nature. Also, we sent them a thermos and herbs for a tea to experience taste. So it's one sense that we wanted to get. So all the senses were touched on through the five 45-minute walks, and they would go to their natural space and of their choosing. And there's a series of criteria, for people to follow. And it was a really cool study. I loved it, and it's ongoing. So
fantastic, Duncan. And Amanda also asked that, have you worked with underserved populations like inner city children who might benefit from technological nature?
not yet, and that's certainly something I want to do. And that's another issue that it should be addressed is underserved communities often don't even have access to the internet and the web and high-speed internet, especially here in Vermont and rural communities. There isn't broadband, so that just kind of the web is it's very widespread, but there's still populations that don't have access to these experiences, as well as they don't have access to nature experiences. So it's going to require some outreach and a lot of work to be able to connect to those communities, and that's certainly something that is in the pipeline for me.
Great, thanks, Duncan. And I see a question from Deborah. What has been your most successful experiment using technology to connect people to nature? And then what are you planning to do next?
Yeah, I would say the introduction to forest bathing course has been the most obviously successful for me. You get direct feedback, you get questions, you have assignments that people do, and I can read those in real time and interact with them. And it's just been really touching and really amazing to hear the feedback from them and to watch the students go through this course. And that to me is really gratifying, to be able to use this platform and use this network on the web to spread just the practice, and to teach people and give people the tools and get them familiar with the practice of forest bathing so that they can do it on their own. And there's a lot of people who already are doing it, and they've written to me saying, I've already been doing this, but this is kind of cool that it's a thing and there's a structure to it. And so it's been really cool to see the wide variety of people who are now really starting to understand more about forest bathing. And what's next, I don't know yet. I have some ideas kicking around. There's a lot of potential, and as the technology evolves, there's going to be even more potential. But I think it's still really important to always keep this mantra that technological nature is better than no nature, but it's not as good as actual nature.
Thanks, Duncan. And Peter has just mentioned a comment. He said the internet as the new mycelium is intriguing. So we obviously found that interesting. An interesting question here from Emer in Clare. We know Emer. She's one of our guides. She said, what do you think are the most important elements in creating an audio nature experience for people who can't get access to live nature?
Yeah, like those stats that I had with the senses, like it's primarily our experience of the world is gathered through sight, and then right below there, the two senses, is hearing. So hearing is so big, and sound design. So the elements, you can just highlight the elements that you find soothing or find representative of nature. Water, um, water flowing, or sounds of birds. But right now, the audio experiences that I've been hosting are purely just my voice and guiding. So just being able to invite participants to not listen to the sounds of the recording, but listen to the sounds that are in their actual environment. So just kind of pointing them to, let's listen right now. And so I rely on the sounds in the participants' environment. So I guess to answer the question earlier, what's next is creating a program. And there are other programs, other experiences out there that are purely auditory and purely of like waves crashing or whatever. There's already stuff out there like that, but incorporating that more and more in a forest bathing kind of structure. But I would say, yeah, high quality audio is huge, and especially when you're doing an audio program.
Thanks, Duncan. It's interesting. I was on a webinar yesterday, and they were talking about the science of soundscaping,
Yeah.
which it's a big thing now. So that's a really interesting area. So maybe one last question, Duncan. So Katie says, are there any times when technology might supplement time outside of nature, like using apps to learn more about nature, listening to music when in nature?
Can you say that question again?
So is there any times when technology might supplement time when you're actually out in nature? So maybe
Yeah.
when you're outdoors, when you're using an app, or you might be listening to music
Yeah.
outdoors.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where we're technological nature is like to augment or mediate, to incorporate into your natural environment. So yeah, totally. And it's how we use this technology, and it may at times supplement, but we just need to be careful that it doesn't completely replace our experience of the natural world. But yeah, apps like iNaturalist, pointing it to flowers, you're learning, you're accruing knowledge, and also just to understand it doesn't have to be so dichotomous. It doesn't have to be separate. I'm gonna totally unplug and not use any technology while I'm in nature. Encouraged a little bit of integration there, and not feeling bad about it, just being aware though that you're doing it, and there's no replacement for real and actual nature, and just keeping tabs on your use of technological nature.
Great, thanks, Duncan. And Duncan, do you want to say just your website, just so if people are interested in your work, where they can find you?
Yeah, so it's natureconnectionguide.com, and yeah, check it out. I've I have blogs and things too, can talk more about what I've touched on with the indoor forest bathing experience, and other cool resources there, and you can see all the virtual experiences that I offer, and yeah, check it out.
Fantastic. Thanks a million, Duncan. And Alex is actually going to put up a link. So just because we had some technological difficulties, we were using one link for all the meetings today, but now we've discovered we need an individual link for each meeting. So Alex has just put up that link. Just wanted to see, can people see that link? Yeah, if you can have a look at that link, that's the next Zoom talk is going to be in around 15 minutes time with Alexandra. So Alex, maybe you can email the link as well, just so people would have it when we get. So just wanted to say, people are asking where the link is. So it's just, yeah. So some people aren't seeing it, Alex. So maybe, to send, Alex will send the email out. So so Duncan, thanks a million for joining us. Lovely to see you again, and hope our paths cross again at some stage in the States. Here's Alex now. He might,
Hello, so you can see now the link on the chat. I think it's now available for all the participants. that are attending this call. Hello, Duncan. Sorry
Hey, Alex.
for joining the call a bit late. So we are now resending the link in the chat, and it's available for any one of you that take a look at the chat. So just use this link for the next call, okay? Soon we will be sending an email with all the access to all the calls. This is just for the next call with Alexandra, okay?
Perfect.
People are saying in the chat that they are receiving it. So perhaps, Shirley, even that we say goodbye, if we can keep a couple of minutes that people can take the link, so it will be great.
Perfect. That's great.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you so much, Duncan. Thanks for your talk.
Thank you so much, Alex and Shirley, and thank you everyone for watching.
Great. Thanks, Duncan.
All right.
Fantastic.
Bye-bye.